If you ever wanted to limit how much throttle you could give your ATV, there's a way you can put a limiter on it. This side of the throttle housing, there's usually a flat spot, and right there is a key where you will have to put a drill and tap a screw for a screw to go in to limit the throttle. So the next thing we need to do is take off the top of the throttle housing. Usually there's 3 screws, so let's take those off. Now that I have the screws loosened up, I can take the entire housing off, and this is where you can see the mechanism in here for the throttle. See how I use the throttle? Notice also there's this little flat spot, and what we're going to do is line this flat spot up, how it comes across to this flat spot that we looked at just a second ago here on the side. Okay. Typically also the housing, if you look on the inside, you'll see where it's got a cast spot. Now mine's already got the hole in it because, well, I've already drilled through it and tapped it, but you get the principle. Basically, you want to line it up so that as you work the throttle position, it will be in line with that. So we'll have to drill and tap this out here so that we can put our screw in there, which would limit the throttle based on how far in you screw it or unscrew it. Okay. What I used was I went up to Lowe's and got a drill and tap set. It comes with the right size drill bit and the tap to go with it. And the one I used was an 8/32. Along with that, I purchased a stainless steel screw and actually a lock nut as well. You'll see that in a second. That would work after I drill and tap this out. And part of the key to make this work is you got to get the right angle here. You know you're going to be at this flat spot, but you got to get the angle right. So play with the way the throttle comes across because you want it to be able to intersect with this flat spot. There's already a flat spot here. Now remember, I've already drilled mine out. You find the location and the height so that when it comes across, it will intersect with the throttle. You'll need to use a punch, put it right where you want it, and hit it with the back of a hammer so you put a little indentation, small little spot for your drill bit to grab. Next, right where you started, hit the little punch, your drill bit will now not walk out, and you keep it lined up, and you use your drill bit to drill this hole out so that it goes all the way through. This is in that drill and tap set. So this has been drilled out already. Okay, see how it goes through? And notice how the throttle position would hit it. See? So it's been drilled out. After it's been drilled out, you can use your tap, and the tap will make the threads. And you'll use your tap. You may have to use a pair of pliers or something, vice grips or something to hold the back of this if you don't have the right tool that can go on the back of this. But it's not that hard. You'll make the tap, and then you'll have it'll be threaded so you can use your screw. Okay, so once you get that tapped, then you're ready for the next step. So I'm using my stainless steel screw that I showed a minute ago in that package. And line it up in the hole. And when I screw it in, it'll work really nice now because I drilled and tapped it. And I got a little lock nut I put on there so I can adjust how far in it will go. Okay, so depending on how far I go, we'll adjust how much throttle I'll be able to give the ATV. Okay, now notice now it's got a limiter. It can only go this far in. Believe it or not, I've got this set up for my daughter, and she's so conservative she hasn't even hit the throttle stop yet. But anyway, you can loosen this nut and screw it in further or screw it out. So that's how you limit the position of this. Of course, you just put the cap back on after you're done. So I just put the cap back on it, and then you just screw these screws back on. And when you're done with that, you'll notice now, when you use the throttle, it's going to stop. Again, I can screw this in further, and it would stop even sooner. Okay, so that's it. It's not too difficult. If you ever wanted to limit how much throttle you could give your ATV, there's a way you can put a limiter on it. This side of the throttle housing, there's usually a flat spot, and right there is a key where you will have to put a drill and tap a screw for a screw to go in to limit the throttle.